Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. I just wanted to pop on and do a really quick video on a tip that I have for die cutting. I had a friend stop by earlier this week. She has been having trouble with some of her dies, and she saw a project that I did using this particular die. And she also happens to have the same die, and she wanted to know what I was doing differently than she was in order to get my die to cut and hers wasn't. So after playing around a little bit, we figured out what the problem was, and I thought I would just show you this little trick. So I'm using my Big Shot today. This trick, I'm sure, probably works with any die cutting machine. It doesn't matter. I'm using my multi-purpose platform, tabs closed. This also works with the magnetic platform, but I'm just using this today in case somebody doesn't have the magnetic platform. I'm using this cutting plate. This, as you can see, is very well loved. I believe in only using one cutting plate to cut into, and then your top plate never having been cut into. I think you get a better cut that way. And I also think you get a smoother cut. There's less bubbling and rippling in the paper. So I use this one to cut into, so I lay it down on the bottom. And this is what she did. She showed me how she cuts. She put her paper down. She put her die down. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is for all dies. This isn't just this particular die. You know, I've seen this happen with several other dies as we were playing around with some of them. So anyway, so she cranked it on through. And when it came out, this is what she had. As you can see, it cuts in some places, but if you look on the back, it just more or less made an impression rather than cutting, okay? And so what she was doing then was taking her scissors and getting in there and trying to snip on all the places that it didn't cut, okay? So she wanted to know if I was having that same problem, and I said I was not. And so I showed her how I use my die. So again, same setup, the multi-purpose platform, tabs closed, my cutting plate, my strip of paper, my die. Put the cutting plate that has not been cut into on top and crank it through. Now, if you notice the first difference, when I put that last die through, it was very hard to crank through. This one, it's just rolling right through, no problems whatsoever. Take it out, and let's see what we have here. Take the die off, and look, mine has completely cut all the way through. So what's the difference? If you noticed, when she cut hers, again, the setup was the same, except she took her strip of paper and laid it horizontal and ran this through. This comes down to simple physics, all right? And while I'm not an expert in physics, this is how I understand the machine to work. There is a roller underneath here, underneath the machine here, and it applies pressure to the die and the paper when it comes through. And that pressure is what cuts through the paper. When you put your die through and it's going horizontal, this die, or this roller does not have much time to stay in contact with the die. So basically it's just kind of bouncing over it, all right? But when you turn it this way and you crank it through, this roller stays in constant contact with this die for several seconds. And so it's applying pressure all the way down this die, all right? Whereas opposed to when you turn it this way, it just jumps basically over it. And that's why you're not getting a clean cut, all right? So this works, you know, this little trick works with, you know, all your dies. If you're having a die that's not cutting cleanly, try this. And again, I pulled out this die just to show you. Now, I don't have problems cutting this die if I cut it, you know, the wrong way. But I just wanted to show you, when you're looking at all your dies, you want to look at them and think, in what position do I want to place this on this machine so it will get the most contact? If I place it this way and run it through, again, you're going to have this little jump over this part of the die. It's going to jump, and then it's going to stay in constant contact with this part of the die. And then when it gets to the end, it's going to jump again. But if you turn the die a quarter of a turn, now what's going to happen is it's going to stay in constant contact. It's going to roll up on here and just constantly keep putting pressure as it's rolling through the machine on here, okay? And like I said earlier, if you noticed when I was rolling it through on that first time, the way my friend did it, it was very hard to roll through. It was, you know, it was kind of a struggle to turn the crank. When you're putting it through this way, where it's having constant pressure, it makes rolling dies through the machine so much easier. So if you're having trouble rolling a die through, you might want to look at how you put it in there and think, you know, this is putting too much pressure onto the machine and onto me to try to crank it through. So maybe there's another way you could turn it then to put less stress on you to crank it through and more pressure back onto the machine to press into the die and into the paper. So I really hope that tip helps you. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. And thank you so much for stopping in and watching this video. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.